Good morning, children. Today we will start a new chapter in civics. What is democracy? Why democracy? I am very sure you must have heard the term democracy many a times. Your country, India, is also a democratic country. Now let us see all important aspects of democracy. Why is democracy needed? Is it important that we should have a democracy in the country? If we have, then what are the merits? If we do not have, then what problems may arise later on? What problems the country will have to face? Let us read and enlighten ourselves. Now, we will start from page number 24, because the meaning of the word democracy is told on this page. See where it is written, Yolanda. According to Yolanda, the word democracy comes from a Greek word, demokratia. You must underline all this and you must learn it, because this is a very important question for your multiple choice question type. The word democracy comes from a Greek word, demokratia. In Greek, demos means people and kratia means rule. So democracy is rule by the people. So important it is. Why is democracy called rule of the people? Because it is the people, the citizens of the country, who elect their leaders, who elect their representatives. And how do they elect? By voting. When people vote, they elect, they choose their representatives, and those representatives, once they win the majority in the Lok Sabha, they form the government. So the word democracy comes from a Greek word, demokratia. In Greek, demos means people and kratia means rule. So democracy is rule of the people, rule by the people. This you must learn by heart. Now let us begin from a simple definition. Let us get back to our discussion on similarities and differences among governments that are called democracies. In the previous chapter, we identified one simple factor common to all democracies. The government is chosen by the people. Wherever there is a democracy, in whichever country there is a democracy, always the rulers will be chosen by the people. We could thus start with a simple definition. Democracy is the form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. You must learn this, that in a democracy, the rulers are elected by the people. This is a useful starting point. This definition allows us to separate democracy from forms of government that are clearly not democratic. The army rulers of Myanmar are not elected by the people. Those who happen to be in control of the army become the rulers of the country. People have no say in this decision. Dictators like Pinochet are not elected by the people. This also applies to monarchies. The kings of Nepal and Saudi Arabia rule not because the people have chosen them to do so, but because they happen to be born into the royal families. So this is the case where there is a monarchy or where there is dictatorship, but this is not the case where there is democracy, because in a democracy the rulers are elected by the people. This simple definition is not adequate. It reminds us that democracy is people's rule. Underline this sentence. It reminds us that democracy is people's rule. Why it is called people's rule? Because the rulers are elected by the people. But if we use this definition in an unthinking manner, we would end up calling almost every government that holds an election a democracy. That would be very misleading As we shall find out in chapter 4, every government in contemporary world wants to be called a democracy, even if it is not so. That is why we need to carefully distinguish between a government that is a democracy and one that pretends to be one. There's a difference between a government which is actually a democratic form of government and another government which is not democratic but it poses to be a democracy. We can do so by understanding each word in this definition carefully and spelling out the features of a democratic government. So let us find out which type of government is really a democratic type of government and which type of government poses to be a democratic government but actually it is not. Features of democracy. By knowing the special features of democracy, we can distinguish between a real democratic government and a government which is not democratic at all but pretends to be one. We have started with a simple definition that democracy is a rule of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. This raises many questions. Who are the rulers in this definition? Which officials must be elected for any government to be called a democracy? Which decisions may be taken by non-elected officials in a democracy? What kind of election constitutes a democratic election? What conditions must be fulfilled for an election to be considered democratic? Who are the people who can elect the rulers or get elected as rulers? Should this include every citizen on an equal basis? Can a democracy deny some citizens this right? Finally, what kind of a form of government is democracy? Can elected rulers do whatever they want in a democracy? Or must a democratic government function with some limits? Is it necessary for a democracy to respect some rights of the citizens? Let us consider each of these questions with the help of some examples. Major decisions by elected leaders. In Pakistan, General Pervez Musharraf led a military coup in October 1999. He overthrew a democratically elected government and declared himself the chief executive of the country. Later, he changed his designation to president and in 2002 held a referendum in the country that granted him a 5-year extension. Now, what is a referendum? A referendum is direct popular vote on a proposed law. A direct popular vote on a proposed law. Pakistani media, human rights organizations, and democracy activists said that the referendum was based on malpractices and fraud. In August 2002, he issued a legal framework order that amended the Constitution of Pakistan. According to this order, the President can dismiss the national and provincial assemblies. The work of the civilian cabinet is supervised by a National Security Council which is dominated by military officers. After passing this law, elections were held to the national and provincial assemblies. So Pakistan has had elections, elected representatives have some powers. But the final power rests with military officers and General Musharraf himself. You don't have to learn all this, children. Clearly, there are many reasons why Pakistan under General Musharraf should not be called a democracy. But let us focus on one of these. Can we say that the rulers are elected by the people in Pakistan? Not quite. People may have elected their representatives to the national and provincial assemblies, but those elected representatives are not really the rulers. They cannot take the final decisions. The power to take final decision rests with the army officials and with General Musharraf. And none of them are elected by the people. So this is a very obvious and simple reason. Since the army officials along with General Parvez Musharraf are not elected by the people, so Pakistan cannot call itself a democracy. This happens in many dictatorships and monarchies. They formally have an elected parliament and government, but the real power is with those who are not elected. In the previous chapter, we read about the role of USSR in communist Poland and that of the US in contemporary Iraq. Here, the real power was with some external powers and not with locally elected representatives. This cannot be called people's rule. So, one simple concept we can understand, that if the real power does not rest with a group of people and those group of people are not elected by the people, by the citizens, then it cannot be called a democracy. It will be either dictatorship or monarchy. This gives us the first feature. So, what is the first feature of the democracy? Let us see. In a democracy, the final decision making power must rest with those elected by the people. The word elected by the people, these words are very important because this is the first feature, first speciality of a democracy. The rulers will be elected by the people always if it is a real democracy, and the decision making power will be in the hands of these rulers who have been elected by the people. So this you can write as point number 1 here, and you have to learn this. In a democracy, the final decision making power must rest with those elected by the people. Free and fair electoral competition. In China, elections are regularly held after every 5 years for electing the country's parliament, called Kanungo, Renmin, Daibyo, Dahui, National People's Congress. The National People's Congress has the power to appoint the president of the country. You don't have to learn this part again. It has nearly 3,000 members elected from all over China. Some members are elected by the army. Before contesting elections, a candidate needs the approval of the Chinese Communist Party. Only those who are members of the Chinese Communist Party or 8 smaller parties allied to it were allowed to contest elections held in 2002-2003. The government is always formed by the Communist Party. Since its independence in 1930, Mexico holds elections after every 6 years to elect its president. The country has never been under a military or dictator's rule. But until 2000, every election was won by a party called PRI, Institutional Revolutionary Party. Opposition parties did contest elections but never managed to win. The PRI was known to use many dirty tricks to win elections. All those who were employed in government offices had to attend its party meetings. The teachers of government schools used to force parents to vote for the PRI. Media largely ignored the activities of the opposition political parties except to criticize them. Sometimes the polling booths were shifted from one place to another in the last minute, which made it difficult for people to cast their votes. The PRI sent a large sum of money in the campaign for its candidates. This is just for your information. All these things you don't have to learn. Should we consider the elections described above as examples of people electing their rulers? Reading these examples, we can get a sense that we cannot. That means we can't call these examples among those democracies who have been elected by the people. The people have not chosen their rulers. There are many problems here. In China, the elections do not offer the people any serious choice. They have to choose the ruling party and the candidates approved by it. Can we call this a choice? In the Mexican example, people seem to really have a choice, but in practice, they had no choice. There was no way the ruling party could be defeated, even if people were against it. These are not fair elections. We can thus add a second feature to our understanding of democracy. Holding elections of any kind is not sufficient. The elections must offer a real choice between political alternatives. Like in India, we have so many political parties, we have so many choices in front of the citizens. A citizen can vote for any political party. He has ample of choice to decide and select the political party which suits him. If he wants to vote for Congress, he can vote for Congress. If he wants to vote for BJP, Janata Dal, then Samajwadi Party, any. I am giving only a few examples. In India, there are so many political parties, and we, the citizens, have ample choice in front of us. We can vote for whichever party we want to vote without any restrictions or without any power telling us that no, you should vote for this party only. There is no such binding. We are free to vote for the political party we want to vote for. So this is a second important characteristic or feature of a democracy, that in the election the people should be given real choices. There should be ample choices available to the citizens. And it should be possible for people to use this choice to remove the existing rulers. The people have all the right to remove the existing rulers. If the ruling party does not get a clear majority again, if they don't get as many votes as are desired, then they will not form the government. So voting rights are very important, and this voting right gives the power to the citizens that they can bring any political party to power, or they can remove any political party from power. And it should be possible for people to use this choice to remove the existing rulers if they wish so. So, a democracy must be based on free and fair election, where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. This is the second feature of democracy. I am reading again. This you have to learn. A democracy must be based on free and fair election. Free and fair. The citizens are free to vote for any political party they want to, and the elections are totally fair. We are not bound to give our votes to a particular political party. Nobody will force us, nobody will compel us. So the elections are free and fair, where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. It's not that if a particular political party is in the government today, it can be so sure that in the next election also they will win the majority and they will form the government. No, no political party can be so sure. They can always be removed by the people. They can always lose in the elections. So this important power of voting is in the hands of the citizens, and this is a very, very important feature of a democracy. I am reading this second feature once more. A democracy must be based on a free and fair election where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. We shall find out more about a democratic election in chapter 4. One person, one vote, one value. In the previous chapter, we read about how the struggle for democracy was linked to the demand of universal adult franchise. Now, you must remember, children, what is universal adult franchise? Simple thing is right to vote. All those citizens who are 18 years or above, they have the right to vote. This is universal adult franchise. This principle has now come to be accepted almost all over the world. Yet, there are many instances of denial of right to vote. There are many countries in the world who do not give this right to vote to its citizens on an equal basis. In Saudi Arabia, women do not have the right to vote. Estonia has made its citizenship rules in such a way that people belonging to Russian minority find it difficult to get the right to vote. In Fiji, the electoral system is such that the vote of an indigenous Fiji has more value than that of an Indian Fijian. That means the person who is actually a Fiji, the citizen of Fiji, his vote is of more value rather than an Indian who goes there and becomes an Indian Fijian. He takes the citizenship there. His vote will have lesser value. Democracy is based on a fundamental principle of political equality. Wherever political equality word comes, that means we are talking about right to vote. Democracy is based on a fundamental principle of political equality. Every vote has equal respect, equal value, equal weightage. That gives us the third feature of democracy. Write number 3 here. What is the third feature? In a democracy, each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. If a citizen in a country like India, democratic country like India, if any citizen is 18 years of age or above 18 years, he will have the right to vote. He will be given the right to vote by our constitution. Each vote, his individual vote, will have lot of significance. Each vote will be of equal value. If I am voting, if you are 18 years and you are voting, it is not that I am elder to you, so my vote will have more value. You are younger to me, so your vote will have less value. No. Each vote will have equal value. Every citizen who attains 18 years of age, if he is voting, his vote will have equal significance, equal value. So this is the third important feature of democracy. That is, each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. We shall read more about it in chapter 4. Now, we will start this new heading in our next class. The new heading is Rule of Law and Respect for Rights. This we will begin in our next class. Before I conclude today's class, let us quickly revise the first 3 features of democracy which we have studied today, and this you have to learn also. First feature we have seen is, in a democracy, final decision making power must rest with those elected by the people. The rulers who have been elected by the people must be given the final decision making power. Second important feature was a democracy must be based on free and fair election where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. Election should be free and fair, and those who are in the ruling party, they have a fair chance of losing. They can lose and they can be removed from office anytime, even if their 5-year tenure is not complete. Then the third important feature of a democracy we have seen is that each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. So with this I conclude today's session. In the next class we will start from rule of law and respect for rights. Thank you, children.